I know that we're in an era where facts barely matter and where history matters almost nothing at all. But I am startled and almost shocked that when we're talking about history, people can't even remember the last 2 years. And I say that because the All-Star game selections came out yesterday, CC. Mm-hmm. And who is the oldest All-Star?
Surprising. LBJ.
It is
LeBron. Very surprising.
LeBron James is the oldest All-Star. And LeBron James is also leading the NBA in minutes, which is startling for a guy in year 14. A guy who has already played in his career more games than Wilt and Barkley and McHale, and he's still going. And this week, the news is LeBron wants some help. And people are acting as if we don't have a template for this. Since LeBron went back to Cleveland, each and every January, CC, he goes through some emotions.
He goes through something.
Something. 2 years ago in Cleveland, he took a sabbatical for a couple weeks and forced their hand, and they got J.R., Shumpert, and Mozgov.
So we've seen this multiple times.
What happened last year in January? They made a pretty big change at the behest of LeBron James, right?
Yes.
They changed their coach. And what happened at the end of each of those seasons? LeBron James had his team in position to win a title. 2 years ago, when his second best player is Matthew Dellavedova, they were an overtime loss away from going to Game 7. Last year, against the greatest team ever, they won the damn title. So my question is this: when are we going to be done questioning this man? When are we going to be done acting like he doesn't know exactly what he's doing? That he's not following a familiar script each and every January?
I don't think it's premeditated, but I think there are people that have a difference in opinion of yourself. Does LeBron know exactly what he's doing? I wouldn't call that a science. Okay. I call it a reaction. He's not complacent in his stardom. He's not complacent in trying to pursue greatness on a yearly basis. So I believe that he's not going to stay in the situation if it's a bad situation. Like, he's going to verbalize it because, say, if they don't win, because it's about championships, right? Mm-hmm. If they don't win a championship this year, I believe that LeBron will feel better about what he said, because he said it in the moment that it should have been mentioned, compared to going through the season and just throwing this season away. Oh, we won last year, or we'll try to retool for next year.
Have no regrets.
So I don't mind him speaking out, but I don't believe this is planned. They are not playing good basketball. They are not a great basketball team right now. And defensively, they stopped playing defense since Christmas.
Right. Correct. Since Christmas, they have allowed over 100 points every game but once. They've lost 6 of their last 8. We've seen this before, though. Last January, they fired their damn coach. The January before, LeBron was so upset, he went AWOL for 2 weeks. And what happened at the end of the year? Who was the best player in the league at the end of the year? LeBron. Whose team was in the best position to win a championship at the end of the year? LeBron's team. Why? Go ahead, Kristine.
Does this change whether or not they can win a championship at the end of the year? Absolutely not. I don't look at the slump. I don't look at what LeBron is doing right now is going to affect them later on. But what you said is interesting, that he's trying to say all of this now so he has no regrets if they lose. I think he's trying to do it so it's an excuse. So if they lose, he's already set up his excuses earlier on in the season, so no one can blame him for it. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. He's asking for his ownership to pay more money to players. Last year, they paid upwards of $40 million in luxury tax. This year, they have the highest payroll in the league. Mm-hmm. He plays with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. He got his boys Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith. Who else do you want?
He wants
How much more money do you want them to spend? But if you're the greatest player on the earth right now, you're saying you need to load that roster up with even more help?
Well, the thing about it, going into the offseason, they needed a backup point guard. So they didn't get that answered in the offseason. So even though they've made a trade during the season for Corver, but they still need a backup point guard. So it's not as if he's complaining or making an excuse. He's basically stating a fact. Now, They have tried to move LeBron to a more playmaking role where he's dribbling the ball more. That's also turned into more turnovers. So when he said we need another playmaker, I was like, well, is he talking about himself? Because he's turned the ball over trying to handle the ball, or the way they've switched the offense going more through him and the ball handling.
What he wants, CC, is to not, at 32 years old, 14 years in, 6 consecutive full seasons,
can we put a disclaimer out there?
Yeah.
This might be what LeBron wants, but it might be what Nick Wright wants.
No, hold up, pause. All right, so let's remove opinion from it. Let me just lay out some facts here. Who leads the league in minutes? LeBron James. Do the Cleveland Cavaliers right now have an empty roster spot? A roster spot that they're just not filling because of cheapness. Yes,
cheapness.
We'll address that in a moment, Kristine. Do they have an empty roster spot? Yes. Does an empty roster spot help you win? No. Would adding a player, no matter the player, be better than having it be empty? Of course. Adding Kyle Korver, did that cost them money or save them money? Oh, it saved them money. Do they have 2 separate trade exceptions where they could acquire a $4.2 million a year player or a $4.6 million a year player? Yes, they can. So now let's get to the easy point that everyone's making. Oh, the Cavs, they're spending more than anybody else. You're damn straight you are, Dan Gilbert. When LeBron said, "I'll come back," here's what I never want to hear. These 2 words ever out of your mouth: luxury tax. And the first year when LeBron was there, when he could have left because he was on a 1-year deal, when LeBron said, "Get me some players," he got them. The second year when LeBron could have left and he said, "Fire the coach," he fired him. Then LeBron signed a 2-year contract. He can't leave. And now all of a sudden, Dan Gilbert's afraid of the damn luxury tax.
He's not afraid.
Well, then why did he have to do it publicly?
This is why I love Charles Barkley. I think you wanted to bring that up, but what Charles Barkley said last night is so right. Dan Gilbert's sitting there and he's saying, "I've let you make a fool out of me for the past 2 years. You've said I'm not spending. You've aired out your grievances in the media. You're not talking about it with me like a man. There has to come an end."
Hold on.
He
not
can't
talking
just
about
let
it with him like a
LeBron
man.
run over him.
Cece, is there any...
Well, there is a general manager, so there should be a go-between between LeBron and the owner. But go ahead.
But don't you think before LeBron said we need a bleep and playmaker to the media, he went to David Griffin, he went to Dan Gilbert and said, "Get me a playmaker"? They didn't, and so this was the next step?
But this is the thing. You're in a partnership. Did he help the team by going public with it, even if they had talked about it privately? Given Griffin's success of getting them extra players, which has started the last 2 years, they have done the things necessary to make the team better. Was it necessary to let the family business out to the public? To me, that was not necessary.
And by the way, he didn't just ask for a playmaker, because I agree. Maybe if he just said that, I would be okay with this. But he said, "We don't have anybody else. We have Kyrie and we have Kevin, and that's it."
Yeah,
we're top-heavy.
How does everybody else feel about that?
Everybody else on that team will be LeBron. They will be pallbearers at LeBron's funeral. Those guys love him. Those guys
they don't.
Okay,
No,
all right,
they
that's
don't.
fine. Tristan, you think Tristan Thompson, who he got $80 million for, is mad because when he said that, he meant scoring and playmaking. They only do have those 3 guys now that JR's hurt. And again, why does he do it publicly? Of course, David Griffin wants to add pieces. David Griffin can't spend money unless Dan Gilbert lets him. Dan Gilbert told LeBron James, "You're not going to have to, I will spend. And now it's like, do we really? I mean, is it worth it to spend an extra $6 million? Yes, it is.
Because there has to come an ending point.
No,
You've got to stop it
Guess
at some
what?
point.
No, you don't.
But
as long as you have it within the cap, as long as you're allowed within the rules of the game, you have the greatest player maybe of all time in his prime. Give him more pieces. Because the team you're trying to beat, CC, that team added Kevin Durant. You added Kay Felder, so they want some more help. Of course he wants some more help.
Okay, if he makes these moves now, that limits him for what he can do the rest of the season. So for me, there's not a player out there right now for a deal to be made to improve him. So why should I make a dumb deal, or why should I make a deal in haste compared to still waiting? We still have the All-Star break. We still have the trade deadline. Those dates, and now if those dates had passed, then I would be more concerned about the Cavs. But there's still room for a deal to be made down the stretch.
Listen, I'm not concerned about the Cavs at all. The Cavs are going to win the title.
No. Wait a second. I'm getting ready to call BS on you on that one. I've watched a couple games with you.
Yeah.
Now, you tried to act like you was relaxed, but you're concerned about the Cavs.
No, They have stopped playing defense, CC.
Nick Wright,
they have flipped the switch
have you
off.
enjoyed watching the Cavs games? The last couple Cavs games we watched, have you enjoyed watching?
No, because they're not engaged.
Nick Wright, you told me you could play better defense than they were playing.
Absolutely.
And you're saying you're a guy who don't work out at all.
Well, no, but I can hoop. But
Okay,
still,
okay.
that don't change the fact. No, of course, listen. But again, it is amazing to me that we are still in a place where even though this is following a very familiar script, where even though I remember, like, where were we 2 years ago? We were saying LeBron regrets going back to Cleveland. And then come the NBA Finals, his team is in the best position to win, and they lose their 2 other best players injury. Hold on, real quick. Where were we 1 year ago today? LeBron's never going to win another title. It's the Warriors'
Bad
dynasty.
decision.
What's he thinking? That LeBron's going to go down as a 2-time champion disappointment. And we didn't learn our lesson. And now we're sitting here today, and we are, and last year as well, here's what we were hearing. Man, LeBron's the coach, the GM, and the star player, and the team's not good enough. What's that say about him? He's the coach, the GM, the star player, and guess what? They're the defending champions. So I'm done. I'm out of the business of second-guessing the guy. He knows what he's doing. It's calculated. It's systematic. He does it this time of year every year. And this idea that you don't do it publicly, he did it privately first. He heard they didn't want to spend the money, so then he went to a close group of reporters, said, get this out there, man.
Close group of reporters?
Yeah, because actually, Kristine, he didn't do it in the main media scrum. He waited until it was the few reporters that cover the team every day and said it to them, knowing they would get the message out. Like, he didn't do it at a podium.
Those cameras go the same places as all the other cameras.
Have you, okay, but I'm just curious. This original quote that everyone flipped out about, have we seen the video of that? No, what we've done is read it.
About his conversation with Gilbert.
When he initially said
request.
what we need, when this first came out a few days ago, it was to the handful of reporters that cover the team. That's a minutiae that doesn't really matter. My question is this, to you, Ms. Leahy, and to you, Mr. Carter. What more could LeBron have done over the last, 6 years? Wait, hold on. To get to a point to when he says we need this to win a title, you don't say, you know what? Maybe you know more than me. Maybe you're right. Maybe what you think you thought the team needed to add Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith. That seemed pretty smart. You thought the team needed to fire David Blatt for your buddy Tyronn Lue. That seemed pretty smart. If he says they need a playmaker, so he's not leading the league in minutes, maybe they need a damn playmaker.
Maybe LeBron wasn't the only one. Maybe Griffin also thought they needed another coach, needed new leadership.
And maybe Griffin also wants to add pieces to the roster, but can't because the damn owner won't let him spend the money.
Okay, so you said the Warriors' difference is that they added Kevin Durant, right?
Yeah.
They made big changes.
Yeah.
So the Cavs should too.
No, I think the Cavs, if the Cavs play the Warriors in the finals, the Cavs will beat them, whether they add someone or not. But the Warriors might not get there. The Spurs could get there. There's other teams that are out there, right? And LeBron knows, come the finals, if I'm playing 40 minutes a night in January, that doesn't help us to win a title.
Okay, sure. So Kevin Durant, you know how it was possible for him to go to the Warriors?
How?
They made space. Other players in the team don't make max deals.
Okay.
Maybe LeBron, if he really needs all that help, his owner's already going $40 million into the luxury tax, right? Take a little less money.
You know, go ahead, CC.
For one, LeBron has already taken less money.
With a Heat?
Well, this is the thing. People always like to tell another player you should take less money. And from a competitive standpoint, how much more competitive would they be if he had taken a little less money? That's up for argument.
CC, go ahead.
But what LeBron brings, this is not a Kobe situation where he's past his prime, Kobe's making all this money. Kobe earned that.
Well, he is wanting to take days off for rest.
Well, that was
a lot.
Go ahead.
But what about Popovich? Popovich created this system where the players take time off so that no one questions Popovich when he's done it.
No, they find him. They do.
But I'm talking about basketball experts. Forget about the league office. That's how to win a championship and Greg Popovich's overall ability to coach. Other coaches and players now have adopted his philosophy because it works. All this stuff about playing 82 games, that's ridiculous. No one should play 82 games.
Well, and hold up. I want to tell, because Kristine, you raise a point a lot of people have raised. So again, the theme, I guess, this first segment is facts matter. So here's a fact.
Well, sometime with you, facts matter.
Hold on, CC.
You and your Cavs.
Give me a moment give me a second here.
Got you.
If LeBron James, this offseason, instead of signing a deal for $30 million, if he signed with the Cavs for the league minimum, You know how much cap space that would open up for them? $0.
They would still have the
Let
same.
me say, I'm going to look into the camera and say it. If LeBron James this year was making the league minimum, the Cleveland Cavaliers would not have an extra dollar of cap space. You might not understand it. You might say that can't be true. It is true. Look it up on the internet. Ask someone smarter than you. I promise you, the viewer, will figure it out too. So this idea, this red herring, oh, LeBron should have taken less, all that does is pad Dan Gilbert's pockets. It don't get them one extra player. The cap, they are more than his salary over the cap already. You can go over the cap to re-sign your own guys. It's complicated. People don't know about it. People won't think I'm crazy. I promise you I'm correct. LeBron's salary's got nothing to do with their ability to bring in players.
Nick Wright.
Appreciate you, CC. Listen, we can talk about
No,
this.
I believe that you're right, but you're a parent. At some point, you have to draw the line of your. I'm not calling LeBron a child, but your child walking all over you, and you just give and give and give. There has to come an
Dan
end.
Gilbert ain't the parent. LeBron's everybody's daddy in that whole organization.
Hey,
and
Daddy.
when he say, I need it, you better go get it.
And what happens when that doesn't work?
Well, tell me the next time. It's been 6 straight years LeBron James been the best player in the league in the NBA
But
Finals.
he keeps throwing temper tantrums every time he doesn't get what he wants.
And that works. Sometimes the temper tantrum works. It's worked for LeBron. It's worked for the Cavs. What isn't working to me is why people want to trade one of the best players in the whole league.